In our last video, we did the project setup and interface for our stopwatch application. So in this video, we are going to code our stopwatch, and we will have the functionality of starting and stopping it. So for that, we have this IB action start and stop. So here we can have our code, but before we do that, so let's have some variables on the top which we will be in need of. So I'm going to need a timer, and this is going to be of type NS timer. Then I need a variable called minutes, and this is going to be of type int. I'm going to initialize it with 0. Then I need a variable called seconds. It's also going to be of type int. I'm going to initialize it with 0. And then we are going to have fractions, and this is also going to be of type int. Okay, then we need a couple of Boolean variables to track the status of whether we want to start or stop, or we want to add a lap. So we will say that variable start stop watch, that's going to be a Boolean, and let's initialize it with true. And variable add lap is going to be of type Boolean, and then let's have it to false. Okay, so these are our variables. So now let's go to our start and stop method. So we say that if start stopwatch is going to be true, so that means that we want to start the stopwatch. So we will say that timer is going to be ns timer dot scheduled timer with interval, and the interval is going to be 0.01 second, and that's 100th of the second. Okay, I think I have selected the wrong method, so let's do it again. ns timer dot schedule timer with interval, and I'm going to have this where I can call a selector. So this is going to be 0.1, and the target is going to be self, and the selector is going to be selector, and we are going to declare a method update stopwatch. User info is going to be nil, and repeats is going to be true. So that's our timer. And once we have started the stopwatch, so we can say let's set start stopwatch to false. Okay, now the start stop button dot set image, and we need to pass a UI image. It's having a method image named. This is the one, and named is going to be stop.png, and for state is going to be UI control state dot normal. And once the stopwatch is in the running position, so we need to say that lap reset button should be having the image UI image named lap.png. So we should be able to add the laps to our table view controller. And for state, UI control state dot normal, and we also can set here that add lap, set it to true. So later on we would track this add lap, and we will, if it is true, so then we will be adding the lap. So this is giving us an error, and we forgot to close a brace over here. So that's if the start stopwatch is true, so that's what we are doing. Else, so else that means that we have to stop the watch. So we can say that timer dot invalidate, and start stopwatch is going to be true, and then we can say that start stop button dot set image is going to be UI image named start.png, and for state I'm just going to use the shorthand, which is .normal, and then we can say that lab reset button dot set image is going to be UI image named reset.png, and for state is going to be .normal, and then we can say that add lab, this time it is going to be false. So here we are calling in our timer a method update stopwatch. So till the moment we put our method, so we will not be able to have this stopwatch running. So let's have our method now. So I'm going to have it over here. So func update stopwatch. So every hundreds of seconds whenever it is running, so we are saying that let's call fractions plus equals to 1. If fractions reaches to 100, so we can say, let's add some room here. So if fractions is equals to 100, so we can say then second would be incremented by 1 and fractions would be set to 0. Then the next thing what we can say that if seconds is equals to 60, then minutes can be incremented by 1 and seconds is going to be 0. So now let's have some strings. So let fractions string. So if fractions is greater than 9, so then we need to have fractions, otherwise we need to have a 0 before the fractions. I hope this makes sense. Then in the same way we can have seconds string, and we can say if seconds is greater than 9, then we need to have seconds, otherwise, okay, let me add the double quotes here. We need to have 0 before the seconds. And the same thing what we can do with minutes string, and we need to have if minutes is greater than 9, then we need to have the minutes, otherwise okay, I have done a mistake here. Okay, otherwise we need to have the minutes. So these are our strings. So then we can say that stopwatch, and we need to build a string. So what I would do, I would declare a variable over here, and I would call it stopwatch string. It's going to be of type string, and this is going to be empty. So now what we can do in our method, I can say that stopwatch string is going to be, now let's build our string, and here we can say that the first thing we will need minute string, then we need second string, and then with a period we need fractions string. So now we have built the string, so we can say so stopwatch label dot text, is going to be stopwatch string. So we could have done it without building it, and we could have passed this value directly over here, but just to keep things simple, I've done it in this way. And also once the view is loaded, so let's say that stopwatch label dot text is going to be 00.00 and colon and then dot 00. So let's test our application now. So we should be able to start and stop the stopwatch, but we cannot do the labs yet, and we cannot reset. So here our stopwatch is running perfectly, and if I stop, so it's stopping, and as you can see that it is changing the button as well to reset. If I do it again, so it has changed the button to lab, and then it is reset, and this button itself start changes to start and then stop, and then it stops from the same location where it has stopped before, and we want the same functionality. Only thing, we need to add the reset and lab functionality.